the satanic cult and, leading to the sacrifice of these poor, hapless, independent guys. And then I started really getting into it and really enjoying the whole concept of it. Like thinking, well, when I was, working the indies, like in 1992 in, Rimbey, Alberta, rural Alberta, this could have happened to me.
So I'm Tyler Nichols with JoBlo.com, and first of all, I am a big fan and have followed your career since the Attitude Era. I've also listened to Talk is Jericho, where you've highlighted your love of horror on so many occasions, and obviously you've also appeared in the Sharknado series as well as Terrifier 2 and 3. So what does it mean for you to be the big bad in Dark Match?
It's really cool because I've kind of made a kind of a rule with myself that when I started getting into the acting business, that I would stay away from kind of wrestling type roles, because I already am a wrestler, and I'm not really like, if you're looking for a wrestler in a movie, it's not going to be me. It's going to be like a really jacked up dude. But so when this one came across my desk, I was like, okay, let me look into this, because it was Lowell, you know what I mean? And he's obviously, I was a fan of Wolf Cop, and I like his work. And so I thought, well, let me kind of check this out and see what it is. And then when I started reading it, I loved the concept of the fact that this was a wrestling movie, but it was really not. I mean, obviously it's kind of the satanic cult and, leading to the sacrifice of these poor, hapless, independent guys. And then I started really getting into it and really enjoying the whole concept of it. Like thinking, well, when I was, working the indies, like in 1992 in, Rimbey, Alberta, rural Alberta, this could have happened to me. And then it was really kind of like, I like this concept. I like this idea, and went full force into doing it. It wasn't easy because we had a tour of Australia with Fozzy that was ending like the day that I had to be there for fittings. And we had to really do some jumping through some hoops, but the producers really wanted me and Lowell really wanted me. And that's another reason, Tyler, that I wanted to do it. When the makers of the movie really want you to do it, it makes it that much better and easier to do. It's not like I had to audition or something, which is fine as well. But it's like, we want you, we will make it work. And it's like, well, then let's go for it, man. So the whole thing really worked out great. And I was really happy with the script and how it turned out. And like you said, being the big bad was a blast as well, with all the different kind of shades that this character has.
Well, and I was so excited when I saw that the guy behind Wolf Cop was doing a wrestling movie. So, and then once you signed on, it was like, oh yes, this seems perfect for me then. And yeah. I have to ask too, was the script fully formed when you signed on?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And that was another thing, like reading through it. And like you mentioned, having Lowell, making it, and then they made it in Edmonton, which is kind of cool because I have a lot of ties there. And then when Stephen Ogg and Aisha Issa were told, because I was fans of both of them from their careers. Obviously, Stephen from Walking Dead, and Aisha with the stuff she's done on TV in Canada. I can't remember what the name of the show is, the medical show that she did. But it was just like, this is a really good cast. Like, this is going to be fun. This isn't some like indie little, hole in the wall movie. This is a real deal, behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. So that provides a challenge for me too, because then, like, once again, I've been acting my whole career for 33 years in wrestling, but when you get in front of Stephen Ogg, who was tremendous in Walking Dead, it's like, this is real shit here. Like, I got to jump right in with both feet. And my first scene was actually with Stephen. So, I got to let him, like, I got to impress Lowell. I got to impress the producers. I got to go toe to toe with this great actor. And, right away you're like, okay, here we go. Hit the ground running. Let's rock this shit. So it turned out really, really cool. And I was really happy with everything.
When I have to assume too, that the other actors on set would view you as just a wealth of knowledge in regards to wrestling. So were they like picking your brain about certain things? Because there's a lot of nuances when it comes to wrestling that can be hard for someone to grasp when they're not used to that world.
Well, there is, and that's another thing. Transplant is the name of Aisha's show, by the way. It's bugging me. Just Yeah, I mean, I don't, there's one thing about when you wrestling movies, another reason why I try and stay away from that is they never really make them right. Like it's always really over the top, like Ready to Rumble or campy, like Glow. The wrestler was amazing. Aronofsky did a great job with it. But so that's what I kind of brought a little bit of that kind of knowledge to Lowell and to Department 9 who produced the movie. It's like some of this stuff is a little bit like outsider. You don't quite get what it would be. So we worked on that and a few things here that just didn't really quite make sense about how wrestling really works. And I think that makes it more real because obviously wrestling fans are going to watch this. We want to appeal to everybody, but the last thing I want is taking somebody out of the game um, because it's not real enough. I think one of the things I think that was one of the little things was the name of the company. I think it's SAW, and the original is like Southern Amateur Wrestling or something like that. So you can't say that. Like no wrestling company would call itself amateur because that's
Yeah.
a sport. Amateur wrestling is Olympic wrestling. So we changed it to Southern All Star Wrestling, whatever the hell it was. But just
Yeah.
little things like that. Like as a longtime fan, I would go, that's a red flag that they don't really know what they're doing. So just little wee things like that. But other than that, Lowell really nailed it. Especially like I said, that rural uh, setting. Like I've been there so many times, and I just really like you want to go full method. I mean, this could have been me had things gone into the macabre back in the early days.
Well, and you mentioned touring with Fozzy, but you're also on AEW Television Weekly. So, can you talk a little about the struggles of fitting this into your busy schedule?
Well, with AEW, if I give them enough advance notice, I can be off for a couple of weeks. So I think we already had that done with Fozzy,
Okay.
and then Dark Match came up. And it's one of those things, once again, like I think they originally wanted me for, I don't know, let's say 10 days of shooting. I was like, fuck, I mean, I can do 6 days in this block. And they were like, okay, we'll make it work. And, they reconfigure everything they were long days, but that's fine. Like when I'm on set, I will work 20 hours if you need me, especially when they said they bent over backwards to have me there. So it was threading the needle, but we made it work, man. And once again, that was December of 22, and here we are, July of 24. So it was all a year and a half ago already. But that's the magic of movie making. Sometimes it takes a while, but I remember that we really had to put all the pieces in a row to make it work from a schedule standpoint, both on my end and on theirs. And we did, and it really turned out great. And it was one of those things. The moment I got there, too, I was like, "This is going to be good." Like this, the whole organization was very classy, and then the set pieces were done well, and the special effects were really good. Just the stuff they had with the fire. If you've seen, each sacrifice is done via a match: earth match, wind match, fire match, water match, which you've seen. So each one involves one of those elements. And I remember the fire match was just like, wow, this is really well done. Like I've been in Inferno matches, as you remember in WWE with Kane, and our Inferno match was way better than WWE's Inferno match. Just the way that it was set up and the way it looked.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I wish that when I was watching the Inferno match, all I could think was, I wish that real Inferno matches could be like this. But obviously, the logistics there's just no way.
With Kane, like probably 3 or 4 times, and he's like the master of the Inferno match. He's like, and I've never won one. I lose every single one of them. Master of the Inferno match. I have no idea why. So yeah, we have a new master of the Inferno match here in the Dark Match.
Well, and your character of the Prophet / the leader has a very unique look with the long coat and hat. Was there a specific inspiration for that?
That's kind of what the costume designers were thinking, that type of a look, and I liked it as well. Because once again, like whenever I do a film, I don't want people to see Chris Jericho, and it's even harder when it's a wrestling film. So, right. So how can we do that? So if you notice, like all my tattoos were covered. I spent like an hour and a half in makeup every day because I didn't want to see that. I had other tattoos that they covered my tattoos to give me tattoos, and I like that element of it. So when they came up with the idea of kind of it's almost like the walking man from the stand or something like that. And I just thought that's really cool because I've never really worn that in wrestling. And even when we did, like, I said I don't want to wrestle at all in this movie. And there was one quick little flashback scene where I did a couple things with Steven, and then one of the ideas was you put him in the walls, and Jericho's like, no, we can't do that. Like it's too close. Wink, wink. Like we don't need the wink, wink. The wink, wink is that it's me. Um, and then the final scene that we did in the ring was more of a very long stunt fight, which was great because we had a great stunt coordinator out of Montreal. So we put together this very long, intricate, match, but it's a fight. It's a choreographed fight, which is, I guess, basically what wrestling is. But we weren't doing body slams and, suplexes. We were punching and kicking and fighting and moving. And that was really cool too. So I really liked how we were able to handle that side of it. There's never once where you're like I said, like a wink, wink, like, oh, here's Chris Jericho doing the Lion Tamer and the Walls of Jericho. It's like we stayed away from that and made it more of a fight. And that, I think that turned out really, really well also.
Yeah, I'm grateful you guys did that because, it can be a little gimmicky. Part of me was like, oh, please don't. I don't want to see a Judas effect or anything, or a code breaker.
I didn't want to do that. Like, I just wanted this to be a completely different character. Yeah, sure, it's Chris Jericho. Once you get over that, the first 5 minutes of seeing, and now we're in this world of the Prophet. Yeah. It's a literal death match. So that's kind of I'm glad that you felt that way too, because that's what I really wanted to do with this. And I talked to Lowell prior, and I said, like, I do not want this to be, Chris Jericho playing Chris Jericho as a Satanist. It's like, this is the Prophet. This is the guy who, he has his reasons for doing this. And I also really love that there's kind of a side plot where he's doing all these nefarious things because he kind of got robbed of the championship. And I was like, well, that's kind of lame. And then you realize, oh, no, that's not why he's doing it. He's literally doing this to raise Satan on earth. And I was like, okay, I am in 1,000%. It started with him being pissed at Steven's character for robbing him of the title. But then I went, you know what? I'm so angry about this. I'm just going to fucking kill the world by raising Satan. Like, that's a pretty good revenge plan.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers when it comes to the leader, whether it's, we don't want to get into spoilers, but there's like a relationship that he has with a certain character that was very surprising. Right. There's certain elements that I wasn't expecting from the prophet / the leader. And was there a specific reason, like, was there anyone that you were trying to emulate? Because obviously he's like a very charismatic cult leader, or was this just you trying to create your own thing?
I think it's interesting because I played a couple parts around that time. I did another show in Canada called Country Hearts, where it was also kind of a Western cowboy type thing. And I was really into Yellowstone and Kevin Costner's character in that, and John Dutton. I really used it in Country Hearts, but there is some elements of that in Dark Match. But I really was thinking Walking Man. If anybody's read The Stand or watched The Stand, I think Bill Skarsgård played him in the miniseries that was streaming. But I really kind of like that just happy kind of psycho guy. There's even some elements of that in the Learning Tree gimmick that I'm doing. Where he's very excited about what's going on, and Lupercania, or whatever the name of the festival is, the Satanic Festival, and he's eat, drink, and be merry, and knowing that, like, this is your last shot because we're going to kill you all, and being completely fine with that, and that's just the way it is because I have to, show all this, create these almost snuff films that we're recording, and B, sacrifice you all so I can raise Satan. So I kind of like the calm, kind of jovial, psychotic, lunatic type of a vibe.
Well, and I have to ask you, this is my final question. Obviously, I saw you talk about Cena's recently announced retirement tour. And whenever that day comes for you in wrestling, do you plan on pursuing more acting roles or doing more behind the scenes stuff in wrestling?
Probably both. I really love acting. I really do. And it's something that I've been fortunate enough to get more of over the last few years. I'm kind of stockpiling. And I think that's kind of where it's going, provided I can still continue to do good work. And get the opportunities. But it is a lot of fun because, once again, I have been playing this character for many years, and always morphing it and changing it. And it's fun to step into other personas. So yeah, I mean, I don't have any intention of retiring anytime soon. I love being in AEW. I love the role that I have there now. Um, but when the time comes, I would definitely love to continue on with AEW, but continue on doing a lot more acting, which I could do tomorrow if the opportunities came. So just happy that, like, once again, you do something like Dark Match. It's been a year and a half. You kind of almost forget about it, and then now, debuting it at Fantasia Festival in Montreal, and now we're getting ready to release it. It's exciting, and then it's a little nervous. It's like when you make a new album, you work on it for so long, it takes so long to put out, and when it comes out, you're like, I hope people like this. I like it, but I hope everyone else feels the same way. But in watching it back, like, if I didn't like it, I would feel kind of nervous, but I actually really liked it. So I feel that most people who enjoy the stuff that I do will feel the same way.
Well, I really loved it, so I think that you're on the right track. So thank you so much for talking with me today, and I can't wait to see your appearance in Terrifier 3.
Oh yeah, that's a crazy one, man. That's a crazy one. That's definitely the craziest death scene I've ever had. Spoiler alert. So not really a spoiler. Somebody dies.
Yeah, I already knew you died, but but thank you so much for talking with me.